από Ελλάδα, good morning from Greece. Today we'll see the 3 different conjugations of the verbs we have. We'll see the word endings of each category, and we will also see the verb to be. After we finish the explanation of the verbs, we'll have a small quiz so you will be able to practice on what we did. Λοιπόν, let's start with the verb to be, which means I am. Here we'll see the singular and the plural. Let's start. If you want to say I am, you will say είμαι. Είμαι ο Παναγιώτης. If you want to say you are, you will say είσαι. He, she, it is. Είναι. If you want to say we are, you will say είμαστε. You are in plural, or if you want to talk to someone politely, you will say είσαστε or είστε. And if you want to say they are, you will say είναι. In Greek, of course, we also have personal pronouns like I, you, he, she, it, which most of times we don't use them when we speak, we just use the verb. We use the personal pronouns most of times in front of the verb when we want to emphasize something. The personal pronouns are εγώ, I, εσύ, you, αυτός, αυτή, αυτό, he, she, it, εμείς, we, εσείς, you, and αυτοί. If you want to say they for male, for masculine words, αυτές if you want to say they for female, and αυτά if you want to say they for neutral. Today we'll focus on the verbs. So now let's see the verbs A1. A1 are the verbs who have the word ending omega without tonos, without stress above, and we'll see the word endings. So all the verbs that they have the word ending omega without tonos, most of them, because of course we have irregular, they will have these word endings. So let's take an example, the verb κάνω, which means I do. Κάνω, I do. Κάνεις, you do. Κάνει, he, she, it does. And then κάνουμε, we do. Κάνετε, you do. Κάνουν, they do. For example, the same will apply on the verb παίζω, which means I play. Παίζω, παίζεις, παίζει, παίζουμε. Παίζετε, παίζουν. So if you remember those word endings here, you will be able to use all the verbs the way you want. Now, let's go to the verbs that they have the word ending ao, to the A2 verbs. One example is the verb μιλάω, which means I speak. So here we'll have these word endings. Μιλάω, I speak. Μιλάς, you speak. Μιλάει, he, she, it speaks. And on plural, μιλάμε, we speak. Μιλάτε, you speak. And μιλάνε or μιλούν, they speak. And now we'll see the verbs that they belong to the category B2, and they are those who have the word ending omega but with tonos above the last vowel. So one example is the verb μπορώ, which means I can. So μπορώ, I can. Μπορείς, you can. Μπορεί, he, she, it can. Μπορούμε, we can. Μπορείτε, you can. And μπορούν, they can. The difference with the A1 verbs here is obviously the stress above the last vowel, and also here on the second person plural, which on A1 are ete, but here is ite. And of course they have more differences on the way they conjugate their future and past tenses, which we'll see in another video. Λοιπόν, αυτά είναι τα ρήματα. These are all the verbs. If you remember these word endings here, you will be able to use the most of the verbs the way you want, except the irregular of course. Και I will make also one video with the passive verbs on present tense. Now, let's go to make a quiz. Λοιπόν, let's start here. So, νούμερο 1. Ο Νίκος και η Ελένη κάθε μέρα. So, Nick and Eleni every day. We want to say that they read. Διαβάζω, διαβάζουμε, or διαβάζουν. Διαβάζουν. They read. Πάμε στο νούμερο 2. Η Μαρία σε ένα εστιατόριο με τον Νίκο. Maria eats in a restaurant with Nikos. This is an irregular verb. The verb tro is irregular, so it's conjugated as τρώω, τρως, τρώει, τρώμε, τρώτε, τρώνε. So the correct answer here is τρώει. She eats. Λοιπόν, πάμε στο νούμερο 3. Τι ώρα θα στο πάρκο? So if you want to ask someone what time will you go at the park, θα πάει or θα πας. The correct answer here is θα πας. Πάμε στο νούμερο 4. Έναν καφέ με ζάχαρη και γάλα. How will you say I want one coffee with sugar and milk? Both of the answers can be correct here, but if you want to say specifically I want, you will say θέλω. Θέλει means he, she, it wants. Λοιπόν, νούμερο 5. Δυστυχώς ο Νίκος δεν να έρθει στο πάρτι. So, unfortunately, Nick doesn't want to come to the party. So, δεν θέλει. Third person. Πάμε στο νούμερο 6. Σου αρέσει να στο σπίτι. Do you like to relax at home? So, χαλαρώνουμε or χαλαρώνεις. Is a question here, so σου αρέσει να χαλαρώνεις. Do you like to rest at home? To relax at home. Λοιπόν, νούμερο 7. 2 ευρώ να αγοράσω έναν καφέ. So is a question here. Do you have 2 euros so I can buy a coffee? So, έχεις 2 ευρώ να αγοράσω έναν καφέ. Νούμερο 8. Τι καφέ θέλω or θέλετε. If you want to ask politely someone what kind of coffee would you like, in plural, you will say θέλετε. Πάμε στο νούμερο 9. Νικό, τι ώρα θα εδώ. Nick, what time will you be here? So, είμαι, είσαι or είναι. Είσαι, second person. Και το τελευταίο, the last one, ο Νίκος μιλάει πολύ γρήγορα, δεν τίποτα. Nick speaks very quickly, we can't understand anything. So, δεν καταλαβαίνουμε τίποτα. Αυτό ήταν το βίντεο για σήμερα, ελπίζω να σας βοήθησε και τα λέμε σε επόμενα. Να είστε καλά, γεια σας.